Hello, friends. Today, the article that we're doing is Article 3 and 4 of the Constitution. Before doing this article, let's look into the American federal system. Now, America is considered to be an indestructible union of indestructible states. That means America as a whole cannot be destroyed, a union as a whole cannot be destroyed, but at the same time, the component units, that means the states, they cannot also be destroyed. The areas and the boundaries of the state cannot be altered without the consent of the concerned state legislature. Now, this you must underline it. The state legislature's approval is important before changing the area or the size of the state. Now, why is it so? It is because in 1770s and 80s, when the 13 states of America, and mind you, they were all completely independent states of each other. The 13 different states, they combined together to fight against the British occupation. They were colonies of the British. There were 13 colonies. They fought against the British occupation, defeated them, and then they combined together to form one United States. They founded their own constitution, but because they were independent of each other, there were 13 different colonies, therefore they retained some amount of autonomy. For example, they each state has separate constitution. They have separate citizenship as well. And if you want to alter the boundary of the any state, then the approval of the state concerned is of paramount importance. Now apply the same principle in India. India is considered to be an indestructible union of destructible states. Now that means India as a whole cannot be destroyed, but internal reorganization and restructuring of the states are possible. Now why is that so? Because Indian states did not came together to form a union. In fact, Indian provinces before the coming of the constitution, that means during the time of British and post coming of the constitution, they were made on administrative convenience, political, historic, and administrative convenience, rather than on cultural background or on linguistic backgrounds. So our states were and provinces were not naturally and organically formed. They were more artificially and for the convenience of the administration they were founded. Now, I'll give you a few examples. For example, in 1950-51, when there was a Bombay state, and it comprised not only of a western part of Maharashtra, but it had Gujarat and it had parts of Karnataka as well. Similarly, if you take Madras province, Madras had large part of Tamil Nadu, but it had parts of Kerala as well, parts of Karnataka as well, and parts of Andhra as well. Now, two hill states, Himachal and Uttarakhand, they were part of a culturally completely different part of Punjab, which was a plains area and economically quite different, and a hill state of Uttarakhand was part of culturally and economically different part of plain area of Uttar Pradesh. Similarly, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand were tribal areas and they were part of Madhya Pradesh and Bihar respectively, which were more urban in nature, comparatively urban in nature. So this was a completely unnatural alliance, and now it begs the question as to why our constitution makers they did not change it the states while they were making the constitution. The answer to that is that there were other pressing issues. While the debates were going on during the time of constitution making, outside there were riots going on between Hindus and Muslims. Pakistan was being created, and Gandhiji was assassinated. There were poverty was a big challenge, and at the same time, civil liberties was also an important issue. So fundamental rights became important. Directive principle of state policy became important. Emergency provisions became important, and this provisions of making states or provinces on linguistic line or on cultural lines or social lines, this took a backseat. But to a credit of our constitution maker, they had this vision that in the future, new alignments may take place. And so, what they did was they made it more flexible to create a new state. For example, let me give you just one example, and that is, if a new state is created, it is done by a simple majority by the parliament, and no special majority, no constitutional amendment under Article 368 is required. Now, this is important. We'll do everything clause by clause. I hope this much is clear to you. And when we do clause by clause, then things will be much clear to you. Thank you.